questions one by one, and I'll get everyone. I'll stay as late as I can. So please, just one by one. Who's first?
I want to know, why did you feel the need to cut the promo you did on Nick Khan and WWE about New Japan?
I talked to New Japan, and I asked them if they thought it would be a good idea and a good promo, and they thought it was great, and I thought it would be a great promo, and so it made sense, and it was a big weekend for us, so it's true. And we have a lot of stuff going in New Japan, and everyone's welcome to talk to each other in the wrestling business. But we've done some great stuff with New Japan just in the last few weeks, and I think we're going to do a lot of great things going forward from everything we've talked about and agreed to. So I'm excited about it.
Do you ever have an ongoing dialogue with anybody in WWE? Is there like friendly banter, or is it just?
There's been, some little stuff. I mean, it's mostly I think back channel stuff. Like the thing with a good example is like when Chris ended up on the Broken Skull sessions. Chris and Steve had talked, and I think both sides checked. I think Steve talked to the people that run WWE, and Chris talked to me, so it was good.
Tony, can you take us through the conversation with Urban Hart having the stadium stampede?
Hey, Austin.
How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you. And so in the office that you've been in as a former Jags player, now a great member of the wrestling media here in your home of Jacksonville, it's actually in the coaching office, it's the old office that you would have known at the time as head coach's office. I was in there and we were catching up, and it was at the end of a night, and I asked him if he would mind, and before we both split and went home for the night, I had a big favor to ask him. He said, what is it? And I asked him if he could make a little bit of time for me, and he said, absolutely, what can I do for you? And I asked him, and he said, absolutely, I would do that for you. And then he went above and beyond, and he was so gracious and really fun to work with, and he's a great coach and a great man. Thanks for asking.
We just saw the reveal of new AEW features, which is very exciting. I think we can all agree that caters to a certain crowd, which is the kids, the preteens, the teenagers. Have you ever thought about extending that demographic with kids, teenagers, and preteens?
Yeah, I mean, how do you mean? Sorry, I don't mean.
Like almost like maybe starting a kids show, starting something that no other brand has, because nobody really reaches out to the kids demographic.
It's a really good question, and I think I have thought about that, how to reach that demographic, and I'm trying to make young stars and do things that are, going to appeal to that demographic. We have the youngest demographic in wrestling right now, but you're absolutely right that we should be trying to skew younger all the time. And that's a really good thought. Thank you. I'll think about that.
Tony, what was the energy like tonight? Because it's the first time that you've been back to a full crowd. Some of these performers have never performed in front of a full AEW crowd. And there's a lot of love that's given from the crowd to the people in the ring. What was the energy like in the locker room and among the crew after and during the show?
It was indescribable, and I have to say, for each match, without going through each of the 10 matches tonight, 1 on the buy-in and 9 on the pay-per-view card, I would say that like each of them, it was so much energy, the buzz in the entire locker room, and the people in the match, the wrestlers coming back from these awesome wrestling matches, and the crowd that they hadn't seen in so long. We've had great crowds coming in at 25%. We've had a lot of times what you saw, we've had 25% of that here for some great shows. And, we really appreciate that, but being back at 100%, it's indescribable, and the energy, and everyone coming, including all of you, it just really means a lot. So it's great. It's great to have the fans back, and I thought it was one of our best shows. We do it with that crowd, one of our best crowds. What's become our home base before we go back on the road in July, just a month really after midnight. So next month, we're going back on the road. So I'm really, I'm really excited. I guess we got another day or whatever. Close enough. But a little over a month away from going back on the road. There's so many great memories here in Daly's Place and special things we've done here. So it meant a lot to do it here. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about like all the great times we spent here with the crowd through the pandemic, and some of the best memories ever in AEW. And the one thing I wish that the person who'd seen this and the person who got to see this is Brody. And I think this probably ranks as one of the 2 most emotional shows we've had, second only, of course, to the Brody Lee tribute show. And last year he was in the world title match at Double. I think he had such a great match. And that was the first show where we let like some family and friends, and we tested in, and we had like a tested bubble crowd and some distance, and it was nothing like this. But he had a great match in a very small crowd, and I just wish he could have been here tonight. But thank you for asking. It was indescribable, great.
Tony, some of those great moments we saw tonight came from Orange Cassidy, Articular. The metamorphosis of him and being able to get an entire audience like that, to take a character like that seriously as a main eventer, what is his secret sauce and how have you guys tapped into that?
He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I've been really keeping it under wraps, and that was the plan. And I talked about this in interviews before, and he doesn't talk much in interviews, so I've said it. The first year, 2019, the plan was for Orange Cassidy not to wrestle at all, other than like spots and matches as like an active manager and like a few six-mans, where we introduced the idea that Orange Cassidy was wrestling. He's a brilliant wrestler. He's not going to say any of this, just give himself credit or toot his own horn, so to speak, but he's like awesome. And the plan for me that nobody knew about, and I really, even he didn't completely maybe understand, is for Revolution. I was building to him and Pac. We actually did a six-man in like late 2019 in Texas on Dark, and it was Pac and TH2, Jack Evans and Angelico versus the Best Friends. And I was getting B-roll, and when Pac wrestled Trent on Dynamite, I was getting B-roll of like Orange and Pac. And nobody thought after the 30-minute Iron Man match plus overtime that Kenny Omega and Pac had in Kansas City just a few days before Revolution 2020, that like nobody believed that after Pac was out there yelling at Tony Schiavone, he was really upset. Nobody believed that Orange Cassidy was going to walk out. And I was upstairs and getting barbecued like 2 hours before the show with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends of Tony Schiavone. And I told them this entire crowd in Kansas City is going to change. He's going to try. He's going to try. Just watch. It's going to happen based on everything that put in place. Totally worked. And I knew the match was going to be off the chain. It was one of my, again, I would rank that, other than the shows I named, probably my top three emotional and really favorite shows is Revolution 2020 and the match he had with Pac. And tonight, I think, was the best match since then. And no coincidence, the first time he's wrestled a big match with a crowd since Revolution 2020. And what's amazing is the character completely developed in the pandemic, and that's the challenge. And I remember we were doing the tapings, the famous tapings, where I, was forced like on literally minutes, like a few minutes, to put together a booking sheet for like weeks of television, like at least over a month, when we were going to shut down, set up a testing plan, come back in May, and hopefully set up the safe Double or Nothing we did last year in the bubble. And like he was, setting up his first singles match, which was against Jimmy Havoc, and against him on Dynamite, and it was the first time Orange Cassidy ever wrestled on Dynamite. It was only the second time he wrestled a singles match, and it was really like kind of almost like I don't know if he was ready to do it. I think he thought it was too soon maybe, but we really needed him to step up and do it. We were like thin on talent. It was really important. What's happened in the last like 13 months since then is like he's wrestled Chris Jericho on pay-per-view main events and TV main events. He's been in main events with Pac, MJF. Time after time he stepped up, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I can't say enough about Orange Cassidy.
Tony.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. Well, Mark Henry and I are friends, and Mark told me he was available and to do things that I would be really interested in doing, and I thought that would be really interesting because he's not only a good friend, but he's a really respected person in the wrestling business. Not just a great wrestler, but a great mind, a great scout, and a great analyst in wrestling. And he gives his opinions on the radio, but he provides great scouting reports, and he really has helped mentor a lot of wrestlers, in addition to just being a great wrestling mind. And I think he can be a great on-air personality, but also a great backstage influence, and he's a great friend and a great person. So it's just great to have Mark in the AEW family, and it was great to announce it on such a special show, to have it kind of be there is a great moment right there, along with the double, sandwich there in that big double main event on what's, my favorite pay-per-view we've done.
Tony.
Sorry. What's that?
Tony, tonight we saw the champions being proud from Britt Baker to Hangman Adam Page. What has it been like to see those two superstars just grow throughout the years of AEW?
It's really cool because I think January 1st, when we came here into Daly's Place, we did a show January 1st of 2020, and it was really a pivotal character show for both of them because that was where Britt, in the 4-way world title match, she didn't win the title, but she started to show a dark side, and then later, just weeks later on the Jericho Cruise, she talked about Tony Schiavone's previous employment at Starbucks and kind of belittled him, which led to a lot of great character interaction and friendship between them, and is a really big deal now. And Britt grew as a character, but then really in the last year, Britt grew as a wrestler. And she says the thing in the promo that that Sheeta to her helped develop her as a wrestler, and that match was really influential and important to her in terms of developing and being there. It's true, breaking her nose in some ways is the best thing that ever happened to Britt because she came back stronger and better, so that was really great. Hangman on the same show came out to commentary just totally drunk. And the lower third was perfect, and people were doing memes where Hangman was in the Full House opening, and it was just great. And it helped develop his character. And Hangman was already a top wrestler from the beginning, who we involved in the whole title scene from the very beginning. He had earned a title shot in the first match we ever had for the title against Chris Jericho. He's been a tag team champion with Kenny. He's like always been a top star, and I think like from the beginning, he's like really evolved. He's probably been the best match in company history at Revolution with Kenny in the tag against the Young Bucks. And tonight, I thought he went out and killed it and showed how much the crowd loves him, and for him and Britt to get those reactions from the crowd after they've been working so hard through the pandemic consistently for us for a year plus here at Daly's Place really meant a lot to them, and it meant a lot to everybody close to them. And Hangman's pregnant wife was here, and Britt's family is here, and it was really, I know we got to see her, and it was a big moment for both of them, and they're both great. Thank
Tony.
you. Sorry, I know.
Tony, before everything announced the titles for AEW Rampage, does anybody in mind that could compliment Mark commentary? As I feel like commentary is incredible.
Well, Mark, it's not exactly, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be the play-by-play or color analyst. He's going to be a big part of the show as an analyst, and we'll explain how like different segments and expertise, whatnot. The commentary team, what exactly is going to entail the hosting, Mark's a big part of it, and the rest of the team, I don't want to get.
Is it going to be a mix of who you got now, or are you going to get someone from the
I have a big announcement. I don't want to blow it. It's not like an outside person. It's somebody in the company. It's somebody who's one of our top stars who's going to do commentary on the show. And that, you know, he's a great commentator and a great wrestler, and that might narrow it down because he's such a great commentator. I'm going to put him on commentary because he's a big star and he's going to work really well. So what else?
Tony, so one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, one of the people that had a great night today was definitely Sting, okay?
Yes.
So realistically, I want to know, what were your expectations of him and what he would bring when you first
My
signed him?
expectations were super high, and I never knew that he was going to get in the ring and do what he did. But really, like, as he got ready for his cinematic match with, Darby teaming up against Brian Cage and Darby, it was like so fun, and it was like inspirational to see Steve like really finding his like comfort level. And it was hard for him to work in an environment he'd never been in front of 25% capacity crowds, and sometimes taping like promos and stuff in front of an empty arena, stuff he never had to do. And so for me, I expected Steve to come in because he promised and he showed me he's in great shape, and he said, I want to do these matches, and we talked about doing cinematic matches, let's see what happens. And then, in the run-up, as we were planning stuff, I mean, he ended up doing a power bomb with Brian Cage and had great physicality with Brian and Ricky in the setup for their tag match against Sting and Darby. So as we did that, started to think he can do a live match, and at the next pay-per-view, instead of doing a cinematic, this makes a lot of sense. And I hadn't really told anybody, and I hadn't made it kind of crystal clear yet, but I was also planning to bring back Stadium Stampede. And I was thinking I didn't really want to do with this hot crowd, this amazing crowd. I didn't necessarily want to do cinematic matches. Would have if it was necessary, because I wanted Sting to be comfortable, and if he was going to wrestle on the show, and I know he wanted to. But he wanted to do it. He had a great time, and the expectations were very high, but Sting has exceeded, I think, my expectations and everyone's. That was a great performance for anybody of any levels of experience or time in the business. Thank you.
Tony, so the Valping entrance, huge pop tonight. Obviously, the Jungle Boy entrance is a bigger pop. Do you see a future of maybe licensing some more music with some of these wrestlers and to kind of come to you and ask you?
As it comes to it, I mean, it's like trades and sports, and when you make a trade or a transfer, it takes willing parties on multiple sides. So you can't just want to buy a song. You have to get responses. It's totally, you never know who's going to bite on it. Sometimes they'll make sometimes people don't even respond, and sometimes they wait a long time to get back to you right away. In some cases, again, sometimes we're really far apart on money. So we've had really great dealings with a number of publishers and songwriters and singers. So it's been great. It's really added a lot, like you said, for Jungle Boy and Mox, and for Mox and Eddie. What a great match they had with the Young Bucks tonight. That's another great match. Put it on a great show, I think. And for them, that was a great moment. Jungle Boy, obviously, for the crowd, and Orange Cassidy, so many great. And really, I got into it when even late last year, when the Cinderella, when I really wanted to get that video for Kenny and Hangman, and I got the rights to Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. And then also, of course, again, to go back to Brody and how much we miss Brody, it was really important to me, and I worked when he was not in good health to get the rights to Old 55, and I was hoping we didn't have to use it, but we did, and I think it was really important. That was a really important one too. So we've done a lot with music, and I'll continue to try and make strides to do good things with music. Thank you, Austin. I'm going to stay to answer as many, so nobody worry about it.
Hi, I have two questions for you. The first one is, will we see any more crossover with Impact and especially bringing in the Impact women into AEW? We have a new champion, and will we see any women crossover crossover at all?
Yeah, I've opened to more potential crossover. The only stuff that's really done, other than the stuff with Penny, has been I did go with Matt Hardy and Private Party, and that was a thing that worked out. We all liked it. I had suggested it actually, and they really liked it. I thought it would be a fun thing. It was a great experience for Private Party. It was good character development. Really, as they've developed these deals, it was a huge part of that Casino Battle Royale, and they've been in a lot of big matches. We're going to keep being in big matches and have huge plans for Private Party. And for them and Matt Hardy to go up was a big deal. So I think more collaboration, whether it's men, women, any wrestlers, I'd be really open to doing stuff like that. But mostly it's been about Kenny being a world champion in multiple promotions. We do lots of crossover stuff. Kenny, of course, being the Impact, TNA champion, Triple A champion, and Mox being the Japan US champion, of course. And, with the NWA US title held by Serena, who's on our roster. The Lucha Brothers and the Triple A tag champs, lots of outside collaboration. So I really appreciate you asking, and I keep working with all these companies. Thanks.
That's quite a situation with you being as much as commentator.
Sorry, yes.
Is there
That was regrettable, yeah.
any reconsideration? Is there you and him talking about what happened?
I didn't think there was any excuse, for what I thought it was. I was not happy with it. So after I heard what was said, and I was told, and having talked to the other commentators involved, who I also apologize to, I thought it was best for the company to make the decision about it. So I think it was the right thing to do. What do you think? Why would you think?
No, I just want to know your reaction about it.
My reaction was like I thought it was a regrettable situation, and I would have handled it very differently than it was handled. I was the commentator, and that's why I thought it was good for us to part ways. Thank you.
What can you tell us about the presentation of Rampage? What's it going to do to make it separate?
I have a lot of thoughts on that. Mark's an important part of that, and it's going to be a different presentation. Like I said, it may not just involve Mark being a commentator.
Is it going to be live?
We're going to be live on August 13th for the premiere on Friday the 13th, and it's going to be Friday the 13th. It's going to be a huge episode, and we'll be live to start. And I've got a lot of live episodes planned. There may be times where we do a classic kind of wrestling taping where we tape with 2 shows on a Wednesday maybe, but we're going to be live to start, and I plan for that to be as important a show as any show, just like we occasionally have to tape some Dynamites, but I think we've done great shows live or tape, but I plan for it to be live out of the gate and be as good a show as we do Rampage. What else? What's going on?
You just said that Rampage is going to start on Friday the 13th. Could we maybe see it being a little bit scary?
Yeah, we could, and we also are planning to have a big Halloween episode not long after that, so I don't want to completely blow all the good Halloween stuff and scary gimmicks 2 months early, but I do want to do some cool stuff, and it could be a great episode, and it's a memorable marketing gimmick of nothing else. Friday the 13th, hopefully it's a good omen and not a bad one. What else?
Something that hasn't really developed too over the course of the year has been the women's division, and it's been really refreshing to see a lot of women on Elevation and Dark, and coming from a lot of the Texas area, like Mission Pro and stuff like that. Talk about working with all those different talents, and Thunder Rosa's promotion like that as well.
Thunder Rosa, what an amazing wrestler, and again, the question I answered before, I apologized to her personally. I was really sorry she was put in that position on the spot, and it was really regrettable. And she's not only commentating. I think that's a very small part of why Thunder Rosa is a huge star here, but it's one thing I appreciate. Everyone knows Thunder Rosa is a great wrestler. She's a great wrestler for us, great wrestler for the NWA, great wrestler in Texas, great wrestler for our own promotion. Also a great trainer, developed a lot of great wrestlers. One thing Dark and Elevation have allowed us to do is develop more wrestlers. It's been a developmental system. Look at the reaction that Max Caster and the Flame get. Look at the reaction that the Wands get. These are talents we've developed on Dark and Elevation. Red Velvet's been a great wrestler for us. So we've had a lot of great talents come in, and a lot of people have gotten reps. It's been great. We've been able to bring in young wrestlers, get a look at them, and develop a lot of talent. And hopefully it's helped a lot of talent. I tried to have the opposite philosophy of trying to make cuts if I didn't have to. I was trying to grow our company. It's an investment into wrestling for us. Wrestling, it's difficult to do if you don't get reps. And for me, to improve wrestlers, the best way to do it is get them a chance to do it. So by expanding Dark and then by creating Elevation, we brought so many more young talents into the pipeline, and it's been really important for us. So thanks for asking. And Thunder Rosa in particular has been one of the reasons that I think Dark and then recently the launch of Elevation have been really great for us. She brings in great talent. She also is a big star, and she will kick off tomorrow night Elevation. In fact, it'll be great to have her in action. She's a great wrestler for us. I really appreciate that.
You were just talking about young talent and AEW Dark. Is there I don't want to say one specific person, but is there somebody that you can really keep a close eye on Dark?
There's a lot of people. I mean, we keep an eye on every match and every young person. I don't want to say tip it too soon, but I think we're going to sign more wrestlers off Elevation and Dark as we go, and we've got great young talent there, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm surprised nobody's asked me about how those shows are going to evolve when they go back on the road, but they're going to be good.
That was actually my question that I've been waiting to ask for you. Okay, so we are in obviously sort of the end of the pandemic era. Are there any changes that you are going to take with you as you go on the road coming out of a pandemic era that you want to keep?
A lot of changes, a lot of the wrestlers, absolutely, and also we've developed a lot of talent in the pandemic era. Obviously, we want a full crowd, so not do 25% and to have a lot of seats. I mean, we want to pack some houses like we were doing before the pandemic, like we did tonight with a great show. So I would say, things we'll take away is we're doing more content, we're developing more wrestlers, and I'm going to keep doing Elevation and the Enhanced Dark. So they've been great platforms. We've introduced a big audience, really. Elevation's got a great audience with Tony Schiavone and Paul White as the commentators, and I always try to put big matches on Elevation. I've been putting angles on their promos and trying to make it a great wrestling show, and I think tomorrow is Monday, and I think it's going to be a great wrestling show tomorrow. I believe it's the stuff we shot here on Friday night before Dynamite. A lot of you were probably there, and it was a great match. It was a great crowd. It was hot, and I think it'll be the hottest stuff you'll see on Monday wrestling. So let's see.
Will the duration and run time of those stay the same? Because they are.
No, they're going to change. They're definitely going to change, and the formats will change too, and they'll be different. Elevation and Dark are going to be really different from each other. So I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, Rampage coming in has to change how we do things, and Dynamite live every week. Coming back in July, when we come back, July in Miami, July 7th, and going forward, as we go to Texas on the 15th and 21st and so on, we will be live every week going forward.
Tony,
Sorry, go ahead.
the real question everyone wants to know is, after the events from today, has PETA contacted you?
The snake. The snake. Miro throwing the snake in the bag.
No, they haven't. You think they should?
I don't know. Maybe they're pissed.
I mean,
We would never heard of no, and they shouldn't. It's nothing happens.
One of the big names, not to say with today, but Jade Cargill. There's a lot of hype around Jade Cargill. What do you think of her so far? And what do you see for her in the future?
Jade Cargill's a great wrestler for us, great star, great asset, and I'm really excited. And made a big investment in Jade Cargill, and now Mark Sterling, her new attorney, is investing time into her. And there are a lot of managers and reps and agents trying to get her in AEW, and I think I really expect Jade to have a great career. I wanted her to have a great chance here. I think she's got a great mouthpiece now, but she's also developed a lot as a wrestler, even in the short time she's been wrestling on TV. And it's amazing how far she's come in a short time in the business. Her presentation is excellent, and I'm glad you asked about Jade, because really was glad to feature Jade this past weekend on Dynamite. I think she's a great wrestler for us and continue to be awesome. Thank you.
you had mentioned Mark Sterling.
Yeah, I got a few more. I think everyone's got to ask questions, right? If anybody has got a chance, then please speak up. Go ahead.
The Rush debut tonight. Has he signed, and how much more are we going to see him going forward?
I haven't pen to paper, but Leo and I have a handshake that he can work here in New Japan both, and then we would want to do it. He'd want to keep working here, and I think we've worked something pretty good out on a handshake, and I think he's doing that on a handshake with New Japan too, and that's kind of what we've been doing, and it's been pretty good. So I think that's a good way to work. So far so good. Thanks. You about to say something?
Nah, that's pretty well I was going to ask.
Speaking of contracts, Don Callis is becoming a bigger part of programs.
Don's a big part of our show. Don's here every week. So Don's with us at AEW. He's a huge part of the team. Is Kenny's mouthpiece, Kenny's advisor, and Kenny's on the show every week. Don's on the show every week and every pay-per-view. And as long as Kenny's the champion, So Don's an important member of the team here every week.
He's not a VP anymore in Impact. Does that open up room for him to get more involved backstage in AEW?
I mean, he's been, he helps in Kenny's segments, and he's involved, and he's a consultant to that. But I mean, that's pretty much the same. He's doing that here. He's been doing that here, and he's been. I mean, there was a point where he's been here every week, and I think it makes sense. I mean, we're doing TV now, and we're going back live every week, so he's going to be here now. We'll see. I mean, we've got big announced Kenny versus Jungle Boy in 2 weeks, and then after that, I mean, I think whether Kenny's going to be with Kenny either way. I think I have to say, Jungle Boy tonight. We haven't talked much about it. You brought up the music, but to me, that was one of my favorite moments on the show, and it's something I'm really looking forward to. I'm glad you asked about Don, and then leading into asking about him being here more every week. Well, I mean, Kenny's defending other titles. He's got the Impact title, the AAA title, and so we'll see. But I think he's going to be with Kenny wherever Kenny is, and I think Kenny signed here for years, so I think Don's going to be here for years, whether you like it or not.
What was the big motivating factor behind choosing St. Louis as the venue for the year?
Well, it's a great venue. It's a great town for us. We had scheduled a Dynamite there, and it was going to be in April. We had a great slate of Dynamites in April. We were going to hit Milwaukee and St. Louis, and we were going to go back to Boston and Philly, and I think we were going to go to Houston, and now we're going to go back to all those places and do all those shows. And we were able to set it up, and now we'll have a live Rampage there on Friday night, and then we'll be going with a huge Full Gear pay-per-view. And I think Full Gear was such a great show, even at 25% capacity. The pops that we got for Full Gear, those felt like pre-pandemic, like regular pops. When you had Darby winning the TNT title and the Young Bucks winning the tag titles, and some of the big moments on the show, you could feel the energy in some of the big moments, and that was really special. So I think Full Gear is going to be an awesome show, and St. Louis is a great market. We plan to be there, so it works out great. What else is going on?
Yeah, were you surprised by the reaction Jungle Boy got on Friday, and did that kind of give you into the wonderful thing tonight?
I had already figured I was going to do that, and I think that Jungle Boy would be a really key person for us. And I mean, Jungle Boy's been featured, and if you look back at Revolution and Casino Tag Royale, Jungle Boy and Phoenix were the last two out there, and Jungle Boy threw even Pac out. He was in a 2-on-1 situation against Pac and Phoenix, and he threw Pac out. And it was really then when him and Phoenix, Jungle Boy and Phoenix had a great finish, and the crowd was really into it. It was one of the hottest things on Revolution, which was such a huge success, for us. And the crowd really loved that, and I knew that it was mine, and I really believe Jungle Boy versus Kenny will tear the house down. I'm really excited, and I think he's as good as a star, and he's a guy to feature in world title matches going forward. So I wanted to make that clear, but Christian's a huge part of our company too, and I really wanted to have them in, key positions. So if you follow the sheets and read the news and stuff closely, I worked really closely and hard on Battle Royals in particular, and I really I worked hard on that, and I thought they came with great stuff, and Christian and Jungle Boy really delivered, and for Jungle Boy, he's been somebody, again, through the pandemic, who's delivered time and time again. He's wrestled, I think, the most matches, definitely in the top 2 or 3, but I believe he's wrestled the most matches than anybody in AEW. I think he has the most wins in AEW, too. He's right there with Kenny, I think, for the top 2 in wins in all of AEW, so it's very fitting that, 2 weeks on Dynamite, they're going to be for the title. And I knew the crowd was going to fight for Jungle Boy. I knew it, and I told everybody, and so I was really happy. Thank you. I'll do a few more, and if there's anybody that hasn't gotten to do one yet, if it has one, let me know, because I want to get it. If anybody hasn't, okay, go let go and do it.
Obviously, a lot of the young talent stood out tonight. Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, had a lot of young talent. Is that one of your focal points going into the show, or did it just kind of come together?
No, it's wrestling. I mean, you have to look, and MJF, we forget how young MJF is, but MJF's a very young wrestler too. And to have Darby and Britt Baker crowned as a champion, and have, Hangman go out and create the opener. And, again, Sammy Guevara featured out there at the end. We've had so many young wrestlers, and then Jungle Boy, like we spent a lot of time talking about, Jungle Boy now being in a position going to challenge Kenny for the world title, and having the crowd, having a sellout, packed house, chanting for him the whole time. That was what they wanted. They got what they wanted. It was pretty cool to be able to give that crowd what they wanted. It's a very special part of the show. So the young talent was, it's a plan for the young talent to shine and do well, but we had a lot of great talent. A lot of our stars were in the prime of their career too, and talent that have had long great careers. that have been around for decades that had great moments. So there's definitely supposed to be a blend, and that's what AEW's been about from the beginning. And when you have MJF and Chris, and you have Sammy out there with veterans, and Tully Blanchard involved. I mean, Sting showcase, it's people of all generations, so it's great examples there. Thanks for asking. And anybody else? A couple more? No, I was just saying before he asked before. Sorry, no, we're working on a handshake. I think he's going to come back. We have, we'll get to it, and I think I'd like Leo to come back. He's also doing some stuff for New Japan, so he's got some dates booked right now. I mean, he's in free for this, and I'm going to respect the calendar he has. And I'm not going to go out and ask him to cancel indie dates to do stuff for us. And he's got a pretty solid calendar, but he's free for this, and I wanted him to come. I had talked to Leo maybe about coming last year. We weren't able to do. We did the Casino Battle Royale at All Out last year. We weren't able to do it, and double or nothing. Because I'll be honest, guys. When I got the roster back together, I didn't have enough people to do a Casino Battle Royale. I threw that show together pretty quick, and it was one of the best pay-per-views we had done, even with 10% capacity tops crowd. We had way less, and it was really special matches. But we didn't have enough people, and that's where I came up with the idea of the casino ladder match during the pandemic, which I thought was a cool concept. But we didn't have 21 people, so we did it all out last year. And I wanted Leo to come last year, but he wasn't free. He was actually taping the challenge, and he couldn't take his phone to the challenge. And I heard back from his wife, who said, he would love to do it. He's filming the challenge. He's going to be so sick that he didn't get to do it. And I thought, well, it'd be great. He's still good to do it. And it worked out, and it's great. Like I said, I think he's going to come here. He's got New Japan and Indies coming up too, so I think we'll see Leo back.
Real quick, so the Young Bucks were rocking off-white gear tonight, and it was essentially maybe a jab at off-white. Are you kind of surprised at how much heat they've gotten from the fashion community in terms of their shoes? They're rocking off-white gear now.
No, I mean, I was surprised at all. Their genius presentation. I was the biggest supporter of this Young Bucks version of the Young Bucks, this presentation of the Young Bucks. I've always believed it, and it's better than ever. I think I've always said I thought Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in Japan and the Heel Elite is one of the great acts I've ever seen. And this is a totally different version, a totally different level of a presentation. They turn it up so much, and they are in the prime. They're the guys I was talking about in particular. They're in the prime. The world champions, the world tag team champions. All in one group. And to have Kenny and the Young Bucks here at AEW now, looking like that, it's really cool. But the heat in the fashion community and heat in general, I'm not surprised by it at all, because Matt and Nick are geniuses. They're always coming up with new ways, cutting edge stuff to change their presentation. I think with the bios that they do on Twitter, they change their bios. It's really great stuff, and they got some really good heat going into this match. Matt and Nick are great heels. It's great. Anything else? I got one or two more. Anything? Great.
Will cinematic matches continue now that the pandemic is starting to wind down?
Well, I think Stadium Stampede, pandemic, this is not a pandemic pay-per-view. I think Stadium Stampede is a great part of AEW, and I expect to see him back, and I think there's always room for that kind of presentation in those matches. So I would definitely leave it open, but we've never done more than one per show, and I think I wouldn't expect any more than that. And not necessarily that we do it every show, but I think it'll still be on a Dynamite or a show, and especially, there's some I really love that we've done through the pandemic, like Sting and Darby versus C-Taz was really great, and I love the first Stadium Stampede. Of course, portions of what we did tonight, live stuff, I thought was a really great twist. The live crowd, man, they were so happy for the finish, and so I expect we'll go back to those. I really want to thank everybody for coming to Jacksonville. It's like everybody who's here came here and he's in person. There's some people here locally, but a lot of you traveled. Some drove, some flew in. But there's so many who I haven't seen in over a year that we used to do scrums all the time, and there's some of you I've seen for the first time. It means a lot, and I hope you like Jacksonville. And we really tried to build a home and something special in Daly's Place. We'll be here for another month, and we're doing a show at Dynamite next Friday. If anybody wants to come, if you're local, I'd love to have you, and anybody that wants to come in general, I think it's going to be a great show. And then, we'll be doing some more shows here through the month, and then at the end of the month, we'll be done in Jacksonville for a little bit, but we're going to keep coming back every few months. It's been a great home to us, and I think it's provided a great service to the wrestling fans around the world, because the fans in Jacksonville have been providing the cheers, and there's some of the same people who turned out every week to Dynamite and the pay-per-views, and it's really special. You all coming here, I hope you saw that. There's people, some of the people were the people that were here every week, and they saw this every week in the pandemic since we started selling tickets. But you all coming, I meant a lot. This is one of my favorite shows, and you being here is a big part of why it's my favorite. To all the fans at home, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. it's great to have the fans back and going on the road. I can't wait to see you all again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.